Now, I decided that the world had too many soda bottles and not enough protective equipment in it. So I came up with a process with my assistant where we could 3D print parts, cut a soda bottle apart, next slide, assemble the soda bottle to the parts, and next slide, create a very functional, very practical, next, 3D printed and soda bottle face shield. And it works. And so I've uploaded this to the web. Many people are using it. My assistant here is demoing it. And anybody who needs can use it with very little material, very little equipment, very little technical skills. Next slide. Now that was the consumer machines, but the professional machines allow you to go much beyond that. Next. They can print something as complex as a full N95 face mask. Next. Or the very complex Venturi valves that are really the heart of a ventilator system. Next. And because a 3D printer doesn't care about complexity, these very complex duct pieces can be printed overnight on any machine. Next. And as a result, this has saved lives. Next. What we say in the industry is that 3D printing is not about those things that you can get at Costco. Next. 3D printing is all about those things that you cannot get at Costco. And next. And that was the premise that I started my first company with years back in 2007. I was looking at the shortcomings with a prosthetic limb. I thought, here's a product that was halfway designed. It was designed by engineers to keep somebody from falling over, to get them walking again. But it was never designed to make somebody feel whole and to feel human again. And that's kind of the whole point. Otherwise, it's just a halfway solution. Next. I thought that a prosthetic leg should and could be this, something that is sculptural and sexy and beautiful, something you can't wait for the world to see, something that augments you. Next. Something that treats your body as the art that it is, not simply something that keeps you from falling over. Next. So at one point I met this woman, Amy Mullins, and she's a lovely woman, everything about her. But I never understood why the prosthetic leg that she wears all day, every day, they don't live up to the person. They don't live up to the beauty of the person. And I wanted to figure out if I could maybe improve upon the idea of what a prosthetic leg is. Next. So the first leg I designed and 3D printed was based on an actor in Hollywood who had lost his leg to a drunk driver. And my hope was to create something that was akin to jewelry, something that he wanted to show off, and something that would also bridge that divide between an amputee and the world around, so that people don't feel off-put or uncomfortable around an amputee. Instead, perhaps they could even feel jealous or excited. Next. And when John and I tried this on for the photo shoot, his girlfriend came down and she looked at that and she said, I like your right leg better than your left leg now. And we laughed at that, but it spoke to this idea that, yeah, perhaps a prosthetic leg is a work of art or jewelry or fashion just waiting to happen. And so next. With that in mind, I started a company called Bespoke, and it was the first company to look at 3D printing prosthetic leg parts. Now, these are the parts, we call them fairings, next, and they attach to an existing prosthetic leg. But what they give it, next, they're based on a 3D scan of the other leg, but they give it a sense of fashion and a sense of taste and style and individuality and uniqueness, something that a prosthetic leg normally does not. Next. And the person can change up the prosthetic leg at any time they feel like, just for their own fashion sense. Next. And this is Deborah, one of my first test drivers. There she is on my Ducati because hers was destroyed when her leg was destroyed. And we thought that was a particularly telling photograph. Next. Or Jim here, he asked if I could create a prosthetic leg that looked like it blended him with his bike. Next. And so the interesting thing is, as a result, you can't really tell where the bike stops and where Jim starts. Next. Chad was a soccer player, and he just wanted to play soccer again. But he wanted to be able to kick the ball, which is important, but also he didn't want to be seen as the amputee who happens to be playing soccer. He didn't need that attention. And this kind of turned him back into the kind of person he used to be. Next. Or Uwe here, he said he really misses his tattoos. They were a big part of his life. So I laser etched tattoos into the leather on his leg. Next. And 3D printed it into the back from pictures of his original tattoos. Next. Or this guy, he wore herringbone tweed clothes everywhere. So I've made a herringbone tweed leg that matched his clothing. Next. Or this guy was a soldier in Afghanistan, and he had a real defined musculature. He spent time in the gym. So I wanted to make it capture that.